This is Eric at Florida Natural Farming at Frog Valley Tropical Fruit Farm in Vero Beach. Looking at my loves, my green people. Oh, I love these plants for some reason. They're doing good. Thankfully, most of these big ones came from Equigenera, and I like to order from the Florida Equigenera because they get here in like 2 days, and if there's any plastic and it's hot out and the plants sit in there, especially the really watery ones, the philodendrons, they like turn yellow and die. Or when they turn yellow, they usually don't live. At least that's been my experience, but that's only happened 2 times on 2 node cuttings, and one philodendron came recently from Equigenera in Ecuador, but I could tell that it was a perfectly healthy plant when I got it, or when they shipped it, but it was so hot I instantly dipped it in water. It was all yellow, all the leaves were yellow. It's this Philodendron corrugatum. It's a beautiful plant, but it looked like that. I got some other stuff from them. I got this one Anthurium fredericks Stallii. That's a new leaf right there, that little tiny thing coming up. So I know it's fine. It's one of those strap leaf ones. And I got 2 other good philodendrons that didn't arrive in the best shape. It was the expensive ones too. Philodendron heterocraspidon, gorgeous, that dropped all its leaves. It's gonna make it, it's fine. The new growth point is totally green and it looks like it's getting ready to open. And this Philodendron narrowform, this is my second plant of this. The first one got cold when it got down to 31 degrees 2 nights in a row. One night was 32, one night was 31. In the windowsill here, outside. And it's the only plant that suffered major damage, but I thought it died, but it didn't. It's coming back. So I planted part of it outside and the other part I propagated in here. So, but yeah, so sometimes they don't come in the best of shape, long distance. I bought one that was, this is a philodendron that it's just beautiful. It's a heart leaf philodendron, but it's got that great leaf. The leaves get big, and it's Philodendron Fibrocadum. Yeah, and it's cheap. It's not real expensive, which is always nice. And another one that I just love, it's the same type of leaf. It's this Philodendron Ornatum. Leaves get big on this, but it has red on the outside, and the petioles are like pretty. And then the front of the leaf is, when it opens up, is very nice, but it's one of those ribbed ones. I like that. But so I bought this, was an import through Orchid Box Inc. So you prepay for the plant, and then they import it, and then they rehabilitate it for 2 weeks. And this is a new leaf, and this is a new leaf since I got it. And it's a half moon, Jose Bueno. I'm glad I got it from them. But this is the only plant I've ever got that didn't have water coming out on the leaves. Pugation, I guess, is what that's called. But you know, droplets of water. So, but it's starting to do that finally. I see water down there on the tip. So I always like to see that. But it's stunning. So that was a good experience buying that. I knew it was going to be a good variegation because it had this leaf on it. It was cheap, and it had this half moon leaf on it, and this leaf on it, and this one. So it was a good buy. I'm glad I got it. But importing plants are not for the faint of heart. So this is a Burley Marks, Philodendron Burley Marks. That was just a little stick node cutting with no root, and it's very variegated. That's what you need to look for. This is a Philodendron domesticum variegatum. I could see the variegation is going to be very nice on this. I love them. And then I have our half moon Monstera deliciosa node cutting that started it all, and there's a new leaf getting ready to unfurl there. The Philodendron Spiritus Sancti seed grown. It's got a new leaf in less than a week popping out there. I put it right away, right into this compost, and it looks good and happy. Those are my green people. They look happy. I love them. I'm gonna go out and look at a couple of mangoes because I noticed they are starting to do a third bloom, and I am going to talk a little bit about roses because the one person that had bought manure to make their own biodynamic corn manure preps from us, somebody that subscribed to us, my channel since the start, and always has good feedback, and they want to know about the roses because I like roses. I don't collect them. I collect them like I do the plumerias. I like some. I like the tea roses, the antique tea roses. This is one called the climbing ones because they have to compete with all this jungle, so I like them to get big and wild. And this one has beautiful orange flowers. It's called crepuscule, like the goddess. And in California, Northern California, this has bad disease issues. I'm sure I could fix that now, knowing what I know, and plant diseases, but it's a pretty plant, and it's gonna look good there in all its orangeness. Starting to look good out here. The philodendrons are doing their thing. This has 2 new leaves on it since I planted it. This Philodendron Plum. I mean, it hasn't been very long, a week or so. It's a Philodendron Mame. That's got a new leaf coming out. Those are cuttings that I do. Because I like to buy one plant and then propagate it and start using it in the landscape. This is one of the subscribers. I didn't know what this Bromeliad was, but it's an Acme Bromeliad, and it's quite stunning. It doesn't have the big thorns like the other ones have, and it's got interesting foliage. cacti and succulents and roses and fruit trees and Aroids and plumerias. Calatheas. So this is a cutting of one of the climbing roses that I got to plant along the fence line on out on the road, and it has these beautiful little flowers on it that are heavenly scented, very scented, and it makes little tiny bundles of rose hips. So this is a tea noisette, antique tea noisette, mostly thornless, but for some reason this particular one I must have grabbed a thorned branch, but no, it's mostly thornless. The thorns drop off once it gets a little bit bigger, because this thing gets huge, like 30 feet. Big, giant 30-foot blob. But it's gorgeous, and I believe this is one called, that's how big it is. Pleasant Hill Cemetery, because a lot of these antique roses they found in cemeteries. And I got acquainted with roses because I thought I wanted to have a nursery, and then I worked at my friend's nursery. He has the largest collection of, or had, I don't know if he still does, of roses in the world, and realized I didn't want a nursery. It's like, hell no. This Acme latifolia, the African peach, is doing good. So this is that Thai giant Calacasia that is coming back from the freeze. The leaves on this get huge. It wants to be rained on. It's drought here, but what I want, this is a calathea called Burle Marx, and Burle Marx is a well-known landscape designer that has lots of cool plants named after him. It's got beautiful green flowers, and this gets about taller than this. I know that. It's been in the ground a year, you know. All these are considered very water-like living plants that never get watered. So it takes them a little while to establish, but eventually it gets huge. They get huge, and they don't have any problem. These are all the Hilaconias I just planted this past winter, and you know, just divided the Hilaconias, left the main branch on, and then this is all new growth. So these are all gonna get, this is all gonna get huge and be like a trellis for a trellis for passion vine. So these are Tamarillos, and this tree is loaded with fruit and flowers, and just massively producing super crop. And even the new branches that are growing down there are getting flowers on them already. Can't wait to get some fruit and make salsa out of that. This is some ginger that I forget what it is, but it dies back in the winter. So this coconut cream tree had a crop of fruit on it during the freeze, which all dropped off. It rebloomed, and we had these weird rainstorms right when it had a little tiny fruit on it, and none of the fruit held. But now it's starting to bloom again. And it appears like it's gonna give a full bloom on the parts that didn't bloom before. Because I see a lot of bloom happening on it. There's some. So I've noticed this going on a couple of our trees. So the mangoes are still blooming. So they've been blooming off and on since, or continuously, basically, because we have trees that have bloom on them with little fruit now since December. Just really, please do not kill my little rabbits. Shelly, Bunny, why do you do that? I know, go, I know, be afraid. The cat is not your friend. She's aware of what's going on. The woke cat. Oh, the stupid freaking terms they come up with. It just mind control. It's frightening. I love the bananas. I'm glad we have like 150 of them planted now. But I'm gonna divide them again as soon as they start sending off more pups. I see some pups, so I'm gonna stay on top of that so I don't have to do them all at once. Weather's still been kind of cool. Oh, I wanted to look at roses. So, I don't know, I think we have 5 types of roses. All the like climbing roses. So here's one here, and I forget who this is, but it's a very beautiful looking, healthy rose with blue foliage. This one has a few thorns on them, but I think that this one becomes thornless as it gets older. And I'm trying to see where the tag is. See if I can see it. It's all over. It's sprawled over here. Do I have a tag on here? Yeah, there it is. This one's called Madame Alfred Carrier. As I remember, it's a white one with big cabbagey flowers. And then there's one over here. I have to do cut-ins of those. I've been waiting for them to get big. You have to do the cut-ins in the winter. They love to have manure dumped on them. And this one's right here. Trying to see where it's growing. Oh, it's growing up into the Heliconia, which is good, but gotta find where it's planted. Somewhere, oh, it's over here, I see. So it starts way over here. They eventually get really big and will be like a big mound of roses, like 20 feet by 20, 30 feet. Celine Forestier, so Forestier. That's another gorgeous rose. Gemma, you would like it. You would like all these, actually. Yeah, I was fortunate enough to work for that rose collector in Sonoma County, and Greg Lowry, I think. This is one called Adam. This was like the first tea rose, climbing tea. It's gorgeous. I mean, look at the foliage, it's just incredible. And this one's like a long trailing, like support, big cabbage. Type rose, flat, heavily scented, big rose hips, blooms year round. Just gorgeous rose. Great for bouquets, very romantic flowers. Then I have one over here. Look at this Quemuck. It's Quemuck's starting to fruit. Our 2 producing trees, we have both types. Quemuck fruiting in 5 years. We did it. It's pretty amazing. Tri-farmed. Here it is right here. Foliage doesn't look as pretty on this one, but I'm sure when it has new foliage, it's pretty. I could see it needs some manure right here. This one's one called Lamarque, Larmaque. I think that one's a white flowered one also. And then this one, it's amazing I can even find these things. She looks like she wants to trail up and away. Grow into this one. It looks like it makes a huge mound also. And I put some manure next to it, so it's quite happy. I know what this one is. This one's Pearl des Jardins. Beautiful flowers. Lamarque is beautiful too. They're all beautiful. Gorgeous. So I planted it there so it could like crawl up this palm tree, because that's what it's going to do eventually. Here's one of my plumerias. This is a red one. Cutting from this tree. Red with an orange center. Or like a, yeah, red and pink. It's beautiful. Dark. Very big plumerias. I've been planting down here next to my, here's some more bromeliads. These are different types. I tend to collect these ones. The Acme's, because they get bigger, but it's planted next to this tree aloe. So this is an actual tree. And I had it in California and San Diego. I had a collection of like, I don't know, 900 different types of succulent and cacti on 7 acres, or yeah, 7 acres. I had like 15 different types of tree aloes. None of them ever fruited for me. They were all young, but this one's young and this one's flowered twice. I don't know. Things grow in Florida. I had another one, but it got smothered by my bromeliads. So I had one rose that I lost because I had planted it next to a compost pile where I used to water my compost piles. And so it had continuous water on it. And then when I stopped watering the compost, I noticed that the rose died. And I didn't catch it in time. Because it was getting water obviously from the compost pile right there. It was doing good. But it's the only one that died, the one that got water. I don't water the compost anymore. That's like totally unnecessary here. These sugar apples are trying to do their thing. I'm not even worried about getting sugar apples because we always get tons of sugar apples. It's too many. I like them, but I only like them if they're big. I don't like those little seedy sugar apples. I don't think anybody should have to experience that. That's why I hadn't been selling our sugar apples. I know everyone sells them anyway, but I don't want anybody to have a bad sugar apple experience because of us. Sky and wood. And seeds. So you see this big huge rose down there? That's the parent of that other one. So I wanted it to resemble like Sonoma County along the road here, because this is 12th Street, 12th Avenue, and the original name of this street was Rosedale. My last name's Dale, and I have a love for roses, so I thought how appropriate to have like a Sonoma County look, because that's how Sonoma County is in California. You have your wine vineyards, then you have fences, and then the road, and along all the fences are these great big giant gorgeous antique roses. For the most part, that it's beautiful in May for sure. And then this is that's Pleasant Hill Cemetery, but you can see how big it is. It was a little tiny rose. I mean, you gotta have a real big yard for this, but the mockingbirds make nests in it, which is a big plus, and it blooms year round, and it makes rose hips, and it smells really good. So it just kind of keeps blooming and blooming and blooming. You don't have to water it. It's just like everything else. You don't have to water. So this was just covered. This is another rose. This is one called Sambrui, and it has beautiful, gorgeous roses, but that one just fell off. That I'm surprised none are. I clipped the rose on this, so it reblooms right away. Looks like there's one left, but it's when it opens mostly white, and it's really beautiful. It smells, my hands smell just from breaking off the spent petals. So I have this side, because I buy one plant, so I had one of each of those big roses. So I wanted to grow that rose along the fence. So, and then that one, I wanted it to be just like that side. So these are cuttings of Sambrui, and that's a cutting of it's hard to do cuttings here in Florida for some reason. Definitely have to do it in the winter. This is that little one. Smells so good. That gets huge, as you can see. And in fact, it's all the way down to here. Oh, and then I have this one, which I forget which one this one is. Another climber with little hot pink flowers. Some tea noisette or something. They're beautiful. Roses do good in Florida, you just have to get the right ones. Fortunately, I lived in New Orleans, so I knew that the tea roses did great in high humidity. They just change the shape of their flower when it gets hot. So the big Adam rose that will go to like a single flower rather than I forget what it's called, when it has multi-petaled flowers rather than just a single. I should know that, but I can't think of it at the moment. And yeah, that's what they look like. Hopefully one day they will be growing all along the road here on Rosedale Avenue at Frog Valley Tropical Fruit Farm. This is Florida Natural Farming. I hope you have a good day. Thank you. This is Eric.